Librarians are used to helping the public, but a new state bill would turn them into unlikely heroes. The opioid addiction epidemic has made its way to quiet, comfortable public spaces like libraries. Our Carla Byron talked with the executive director of a local library to see what he thinks about his staff possibly having to administer overdose reversal drugs.
Seeing a man overdose was a sad and scary moment that will always stay with librarian Michelle Brousseau. The incident happened around 5 years ago in South Lansing Library.
You want to help somebody, but we're not prepared to help people. We just sat with him and held his hand. He was out cold. He still had the needle in his arm.
But a newly proposed state bill would give librarians the option to step in and help by putting the life-saving drug in their hands, and they wouldn't be held liable. But without a medical background, the thought makes Brousseau very nervous.
That's a huge responsibility. Who doesn't want to save somebody's life? But I don't want to make it worse.
Right now, only law enforcement, first responders, and schools can use Narcan. Earlier this year, 3 people overdosed within 2 weeks at downtown library's basement. 2 things the library district has done to prevent drug use is increase foot traffic in the basement and locking doors during low use times. Since then, staff hasn't had a problem. The library district's executive director says if the proposal were to pass, it's something he and his staff would have to heavily consider.
It's not as easy as just administering it and everything's fine. There's a lot of training that needs to be involved with actually how to administer it.
Brousseau says the epidemic has not dissuaded her from her work.
That is public service. Yes, when you work in a library, you just deal with things that happen. We have a chance to help somebody different every day.
The legislation doesn't provide funding for the Narcan, so Dimstra says finding money in the district's budget is something else they'd have to consider. The legislation now heads to the Senate for review. Grand Ledge Senator Rick Jones, who sponsored the bill, says he expects it to be passed on to the House by the end of the week.